Spring is soon ending and summer is coming, and one thing summer is bringing is more isekai. But what's the best isekai this summer? Well, here are my picks. But first consider subscribing and leaving a like, that helps us a lot. Thank you. So firstly we have how a realist hero rebuilt the kingdom. This is an interesting isekai in which the main character, after being transported to another world, is given the crown of the kingdom. He was summoned to deal with the threat of the demon domain, but he finds himself having to first deal with rebuilding the kingdom because the king has no self-respect and is useless. At least he recognizes that. The main character, with his modern sensibilities and ideas, tries to improve the life of the people and streamline management and root out corruption and the like, whilst at the same time having many girls fall for him. For instance, he teaches the dark elves that live in the forest how to actually take care of the forest. You would think they would know that, but no. Not everyone wants this new king to just come in and change everything. So he faces many challenges to begin with, and he has to come up with various ways to overcome them. Sometimes through political maneuvering and sometimes through warfare, before he can begin his rhyme of enlightened absolutism. If you ever wanted to imagine how a modern, smart individual with some political acumen would do in another world, then this might be it. But of course, the intelligence of the people in this world takes a hit because he needs to be smarter when compared to them. The studio and staff seem okay, but this is not a series that will need a lot of animation power to work. It should focus instead on the character designs, and in making the girls as cute as possible. Give the people what they want. You guys could also give me what I want through just subscribing and leaving a like. Next we have I became rich but died soon after, and in another world I am enslaved by a black company. But the real title is actually The Dungeon of Black Company. Oh, that's good, right? Yep, in this series Kinja, the main character, really gets the short end of the stick in his transition to another world. All these other characters getting good lives in another world, but he just ends up having to do back-breaking labor for the entire day. He does have his intelligence and wit, and he has to use them to great effort to escape from this terrible situation. Obviously this involves using his modern ideas and tricks to make money, and of course, for that he also needs colleagues. Not like he wants to save everyone either. He's in it for himself, but in doing that he has to undermine the exploitative company, which ends up helping more people. The anti-hero of the season is here. He just wants his neat life back. Next we have Cheat Pharmacist's Slow Life, making a drugstore in another world. Another overworked Japanese man dies of karoshi and is transported to another world. Is this a know-how of how to be isekai'd? I wonder. What does every overworked person want to do in another world? Yes, to be your own boss, and to have a slow life selling drugs. Reiji's ability to make all kinds of potions and the likes allow him to do just that. After all, potions taste awful, but Reiji is able to make great potions that do not taste horrible. So after saving a wolf that turns into a lolly girl, classic, he moves into a town and decides to make a pharmacist store. With only the wolf lolly at first, but many girls start to show up. Totally unexpected, right? Studio EMT Square will be handling this series, and their past work in Kuma 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 Bear makes me think this is a great choice. Kuma was a slice of life chill isekai series like this, and its colorful style worked well, and that same style is the perfect choice for this one. The stuff is not too good, but this series just needs to be cute and have a heartwarming soundtrack. Next we have Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy. The name for this series is not too much fun, but I guess to compensate for that, the main character is so ugly that the goddess of the other world rejected him as a candidate for the hero. I mean, it would make more sense if he actually looked ugly, but he just looks normal. So our main character, rejected for the role of the hero, finds himself chucked into the middle of nowhere. In the end, another god, frustrated at the goddess, tells him to live the way he wants and grants him some of his power. This means the main character is rather strong to begin with, and without the burden of being a hero, the main character sets off to do what he wants. In doing just that, he gains strong companions and even forms a kingdom. I mentioned this series in a previous video. It's a good adventure isekai, and it seems like it's going for a more nostalgic 2000s art style, which could work, especially since the staff working on this series is good. Next we have another series with a boring title, Senrei Gensoki. Yes, I can't really make fun of this title here, so let's just move on. This series' real or main character is now in the dumps, living in the slums, only dreaming of revenge against the killers of his mother. His fate changes when he remembers his past life as Haruto. This changes him completely, as there are essentially two people sharing the same body. However, his fate only really changes when he rescues a girl from danger. It turns out she was a member of the royal family, so he's awarded with a place in the Academy for Royals. Because that definitely is a great idea. Nothing bad will happen to him there, right? TSM and WoW Award are the studios behind this series. Not a bad choice, but the standout factor here is the experienced names in the staff like Osamu Yamazaki, Mitsutaka Hirota, and many more. It's quite surprising really, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this one will turn out. Next we have Sonny Boy, an original isekai that should feel quite different from the other Naro isekais in this list. Sonny Boy is a work by Natsume Shingo and Madhouse, but apart from the promotional video and visuals and a vague description, there's not much to talk about here, so it looks promising because of the people working on it. Next we have two series that were supposed to be airing this summer, but they were both delayed to fall. This delay was of course caused by the pandemic and the state of emergency in Japan at the moment. So first we have Banished from the hero's party and decided to live a quiet life in the countryside. So Gideon, the main character, lives off to live a quiet life after leaving the hero's party. Maybe he actually wanted to do this from the beginning since he was convinced quite easily that he was a burden. Of course he had some sort of inferiority complex to begin with, which helped in causing that. Either way, the main character's slow life at a small village starts to change when he gets involved with a previous teammate. It's obviously a girl and a hot one at that, so their soul life together begins. However, his peaceful life is not easy to maintain as the battle of the hero against the demons causes ripples throughout the world. The war spilling from the front lines mean the main character finds himself often having to still fight to save people from harm. The studios working together for this series are both new studios, so it's a coin toss on whether this will look good overall. The PV does not look bad, so I lean towards it being okay, and the story will be good if you like some fluff with bouts of action. Next we have the world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat. This is another work by the author of Redo of Healer, but it's not quite as smutty. The title of the series feels like something a middle schooler made up. It acts kind of like a description for the story. So Mr. Grey Assassin starts his life in another world, but he has a task given to him by the goddess, which is to stop the hero from destroying the world in the future. That does not sound like a hero, but alright. So our main character, who rethinks his world's finest assassin skills, strives for a life without regrets. It turns out Lou, our main character, is trained by his family to become an assassin. Like the world's finest assassin needs any training, right? Lou is very powerful and meets many people, well, mainly girls that surround him for, reasons. Studio Silver Link and Palette will be in charge of animating this series. The director Masafumi Toruma has works like Misfits, Demon King, that is kind of similar to this work, so it's a good pick. The rest of the staff is also not bad, so this is quite a promising title in the technical side. It all depends on the quality of the story, which is okay. So that was the video guys, so what did you guys think? What's the best isekai this summer? Well, excluding the sequels of course. Slime is kind of a cheat. If you guys liked the video, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like and comment down below.